All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome again to How to CAD. Almost anything. Week 2, session 4. I think I hope everybody had a great weekend. You were able to rest, stay away from the cold, able to CAD a little bit. I CAD a lot. I want to show you, in particular, two of the items that you currently see on this screen. I CAD the Diet Coke and the Saturn V. I think they look very nice. I'll show it to you guys in a moment. But I think today we have a very, very exciting session because now's the moment when we start to really complicate our lives and just try to determine how, more or less, using most of the stuff that we learned last week, plus a couple more extra tricks, we'll be able to start cutting very difficult stuff. But before I get started, let's just go through the usual. Here, well, this is the session for today. Two very important commands, loft and sweep, and we'll be learning those. And then out of the three projects that I thought we were gonna do today, I think the banana is the most doable one. All three of them are already in the website. It turns out that the boat was actually a lot more difficult than I thought, and the airport control tower, it's really up to when you determine to stop, right? Like you can continue cutting and adding more details, and it depends when you're like satisfied with it. So I'll show you how those look like to me. But as usual, do you guys have any questions for me? If not, once I start doing like a quick warm up today, you guys can chime in and ask me any sorts of questions. I think we can get started on before I go. Let me just show you like the end results of the three projects, right? So starting with the boat hull, and I'm gonna go over this a little bit later on. So I went from this picture into creating like a wireframe, like the one that looks in here, and then into making the structure over there. So it looks pretty decent. You know, it's a technique that we will be learning in a little bit. Then with the control tower, this one is the one that I'm the most proud of because it required a lot of ingenuity, especially doing like this spiral going down and then all of the cables upwards. And there's a bunch of details, especially all of the different colorings. The problem is that SolidWorks is not an architecture software. So that's why maybe it's not the most suited to make a part like this one. Although you could definitely 3D print this. You could make a step file 3D printed. And the banana, obviously, but I'm going to leave that for afterwards. Right? Let me just go back in time to here. I'm going to escape for a moment and let's go down here. We got SolidWorks pull on. Oh, and this is one of the things I was cutting this weekend, just to give you a preview, and it's already up. This is the Saturn V. And I guess since I have it pulled up in here, right this morning I was cutting this little part of the Saturn V, which doesn't look too complicated. It's a little bit interesting to cut something like that. And then I thought, what if we do a warm up cutting a structure like this one, like this little, I guess like frame you would call it. And then I thought, all right, what is a structure from our daily lives that might have something like this? And just not surprisingly, cranes do look like that. And I'm gonna base it off more or less from these three pictures that I was just Googling a moment ago. So we're gonna start by making a very simple crane. Maybe something that looks like this little frame in there. So that being said, I'm gonna go here to File, New, and as usual, please feel free to follow along in your own computers and stop me. I'm gonna be stopping myself at certain points to ask you for questions if you have any questions for me. But I guess one approach that I would use to cut this is that let's first start even before going into all of this structure, like something very basic, which is I'm just gonna make like at least a little circle to put it in words where this crane is gonna be seated. So maybe I'll make it like a 3 inch, and don't worry about the dimensions, right? As usual, I made a sketch. I centered it at the origin. I'm gonna go here to features. Yeah, let's give it like 0.1. Why not? And now I'm gonna do another sketch. Go here to sketch, and I'll do a center line that goes from the origin all the way like that, and then a little circle that goes like this, and I'll smart dimension. Yeah, let's say, yeah, that's 1, and maybe let's make that 0.3. Yeah, that sounds about reasonable. And then let me just move that. and then I can do a little circular pattern. I'm gonna choose the circle, I'm gonna choose the line, and 4 is exactly what I wanted. There we go. So hopefully, and again, I'm gonna be going relatively quick, but please stop me if you're not following. Hopefully, you'll be able to CAD the crane as I do it as well. So just I'm looking at my computer, but just I shout out if you need any help. And then I go here to features, and I'm gonna bring all of them up, maybe by let's say 1. How would that look like? No, maybe a little bit more. To let's see. Yeah, that sounds all right. And then another thing that I want to do is I'm going to do another sketch, and I'm going to click here on the top plane in there, and using our friendly offset entities, I'm going to click in actually in just one of the circles. There we go. I'm going to reverse, and I'm going to offset by 0.01. And this is more for stylistic reasons. You'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to do another here student sketch, a center line that goes like this, and then another little circular pattern. Don't worry about this step if you don't want. If you reached the 4 columns, that's fine as well. This is because I just want to give this maybe point. Let's see. Let's see 0.05. Yeah, just like a tiny map. Excellent. All right. So this is more or less where we are standing right now. Hopefully did 4 columns. So now this is where it might get a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna go here to sketch, and I'm gonna go down here. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll do convert entities. So if I convert entities, for instance, that circle and that circle, what that happens is that as usual, I'm in this plane and it's just gonna project those 2 circumferences into that plane. And I can right click in there and make those 2 construction geometries. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'll do a little center line that goes between those 2 points. So now I have a point, I have a line that goes between the 2 origins of those 2 circles. And then I can do another center line that goes from the origin all the way to this point. Have you guys more or less understood that's what I just did in there? Yes. Just converting and making a center line. How'd you make this? Yes. Center line. To make a center line, you will click on the little triangle. Oh, there we go. A little triangle, and then center line. You will click there. Alternatively, what you could do is you can right click, and you can just go to the, say it's a solid line. You will click on the 2 arrow symbol. So now we're at this point, and now what I'll do is once I have that done, I'll exit the sketch. So now we're like this. So then we can go back to features, and then to reference geometry, plane, and then click on this point and click on that line. So now what I've done, I click on this point and I click on that line. So now I have a plane that is normal to that line and that has that point as one of the points in the plane. I'm going to click OK. And essentially, this is a plane that goes, it's just splitting those 2 columns in half. And the reason why that is very convenient, well, in just a moment, I'll tell you, is because now I can go here to sketch, go to this plane, and then we go back to our pictures. Yeah, I just want to more or less have that in mind. They're very good. What I'm going to do is, first I'm going to convert entities. Actually, I could convert entities, that line, very good. And then I can convert entities, that line in there, and this line in here. So you see how I have like that circumferential path, like that circumference, and when you project, it's just projecting, when you're converting, it's projecting the diameter. So I'm gonna right click in there and also make those 2 construction geometries. And I do the same thing here, right click, make it construction geometries. And then now is where I'm gonna do this little zigzag pattern. So we're gonna make it very easy on Ash. I'm just gonna make a little center line that goes all the way from here to there, like that. And then another one that goes like this. So I think that sounds decent in there. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. And I'm gonna click exit. How does that sound so far? making the plane again? Yes, absolutely. So to create that, were you able to create the center line like the ones in the bottom? Okay, perfect. So you would go here to features, then reference geometry, then plane, and you would click on the point, and you would click on the line. And then you click the check mark. And then then you do another sketch. So you click here on sketch, and you choose that plane. That's what you would do. And then using that one, you can convert entities, like a couple of things, and just draw this zigzag pattern that goes like that. But really now, here's where it will get interesting, because now I can do we can go back to features. I can go back to reference geometry. I'm gonna create yet another plane. And this one is where it will be fun. I'm gonna choose this point and that line. So now I have a plane that, as you can see, is going along, it's normal to this line, and it's along that point. And I'm gonna click OK in there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I'm gonna do another plane that goes between this point and that line. So I choose the point, I go like that. And you see why this is cool, because now I can do a sketch, and then I'll do plane number 2. And I can do a little circle. Here, let's make this one, how big? Let's say 0.1. And now, if you go to features, you can extrude, and there's an option that says up to vertex. The other plane. Right here in this point and that line. Which that way, because I want to do these little circles in there. So, because then you can start editing them, and then you can choose this option that is up to vertex. So I'm gonna choose up to this little point. So then it's gonna go all the way like that, and I click OK. And then I can do the exact same thing on plane 3. I can do a sketch over here. And I'll do a circle. There's gonna be, what was it, 0.1? There we go. And then I can go again to extrude. And I'm gonna choose this vertex over there. And I'll say OK. And then just because I don't want these planes, I can right click in them and I can hide all of these lines. There we go. Oh, there's not to have them. All right, so I'm gonna stop here for now. Questions? All the planes, right? Excellent. If I'm gonna go back in time, so it would be like, let me also show them. Show all of these. So it would be like this point, I guess. Were you able to draw also these lines that go in there? Okay. So then what I did a sketch, and I chose, say, plane 2. And then I did a little circle in there. Let's smart dimension that to 0.1, for instance. And then I go here to features, and I go extrude. And there's an option, if you go in direction, that's called up to vertex. And you can choose that point in there. And then you're bringing it all the way to the top. But I'm not gonna do that like now, because just delete that for a second. I can bring those two back again. And then just to make it a little bit more fun, if you go to features, and then you go to circular pattern, features circular pattern under that triangle, you can click on these two extrude cuts, extrude bosses, and then say you want them along the direction of the circle, and you want 4 indeed, you can click OK. So now you have this little structure in there. How are we doing over here? Good. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just do one last thing before I can start going around in a second, which is that now the nice part about all of this. Well, I guess I'm gonna go here to reference geometry, and I'm gonna create an axis, and this axis I'm gonna choose this circle as it is. So now I have that little axis in there, and you'll see why that is important in a moment, because then first things first, I'm gonna go to evaluate, and I'm gonna click measure, and I'll click I wanna find the distance between that top surface and this one, and it's telling me it's 1.51. Very good. And the reason why that is important is because then I go here to features, then linear pattern, and for direction, I'm gonna choose the axis that I just created. And then for features, I'm gonna choose pretty much everything. Oh, there we go. And for distance, I'm gonna put 1.51. I wanna reverse the direction, very good. And how many do we want? Well, let's make it maybe let's say 15 copies in total. There we go. Well, oh, actually, oh, this is very interesting. It didn't copy all of the, I guess maybe it's lagging. So let me just go back here to edit. Maybe let's say I'll do two. There we go. But at least you can see how, the reason why I wanted this to be there, that way you could notice that there's like two of these. It's just like a stylistic reason. And then this stuff on the top gets covered by this stuff in the bottom. All right, then maybe what I'll do here, I'll pause for a moment, and I just want to walk around. Thank you for holding up. Zoom people in here. So now I'm gonna do now another linear pattern of my linear pattern. Still the same direction, which is this axis, and the features all the way like that. All right, let's see if this is gonna work this time or not. Very good. Okay. So now I'm gonna go here to plane. I'm gonna hide that because I don't want any of this stuff. So hopefully I'll continue walking around, but now we can follow through for the folks that did reach this point. So hopefully you're able to get a structure that looks more or less like this. So now let's do, if we go back to our pictures, to reach the point of say like the cabin in there, right? So let's make like something pretty simple looking, right? So what I'm gonna do is, here's where you can get creative. The first thing I'm gonna do a sketch, and I'll choose this top plane. Oh, there we go. And now I can do a little circle that goes maybe this big, and maybe I'll do a smart dimension that is 2.5. And maybe let's make that go all the way. Maybe let's make it blind by 0.1. So now I'm hiding those details in there. When I click OK, very good. Now you see, yeah, that looks very nice. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is get another circle. I'll go here to sketch, and let's do another circle up here. Maybe let's make this one be 2. And then if you guys remember on features, there's this very cool command. So this one I'm gonna make it 0.2, right? Well, actually 0.3. But there's this angle command that is on the boss extrude. So I can say, let's make that 10 degrees, that, or maybe 20 degrees. There we go. That way it's like tapered inwards. And I think that looks pretty decent in there. Yeah, I'm just trying to copy more or less that structure in there. Very good. So now I'm gonna make like four pillars. Maybe the next thing I'm gonna do is okay to sketch in there, and maybe let's go here to center line. Let's do a quick circle. Yes, I'll show you in just a second. Let me just exit the sketching here. Yes, so if you go to, say that you're at your boss extrude, right? Which is like that one. There's this little button that you can click. emboss extrude, and that one I set 20 degrees. I can unclick it and you see how it just returns back to the normal. Or I can just click this one and just say 20. Then, I mean, it's just a stylistic thing, like nothing too fancy. But then I'm gonna right click on this sketch, edit sketch, and I just wanna continue editing this stuff. And then I make a quick circular pattern of this and that. And maybe I'll make that 5. And I'm gonna extrude upwards by, yeah, 0.3. That's decent in there, very good. And I'll make another sketch. There we go. And I'll make that 1.5. Extrude up by 0.1. So I'm just, I guess, building the platform, right, where this little like house per se is gonna be seated. And now to this is like I guess the fun part, just building this little thing. I think one approach for that could be if we go to a right plane. So a right plane splits all of this in half. So I can do a sketch go on the right plane. And now if I go to convert entities and I click on this point in there, you see how, well, that point, that is the circumference. But because I'm projecting it into the plane, it becomes the diameter. So I can now right click on that and say, let's make that a construction geometry. And that looks more or less, I'm gonna more or less design the rough structure of this thing. So maybe I'm gonna design something that looks like this. And maybe, yeah, something. Actually, I'm gonna do Control Z. Yeah, that seems all right. This one, this part, I suppose it doesn't need to be uh like perfect, I guess. Just have fun doing. Yeah, that seems decent there. For this stuff, just there we go. And now what I can do is, yeah, maybe just to fully define stuff, I'm gonna make just 2 lines. To go, actually, no, I can just say that I want that dimension there to be 0.3. This dimension here, those will be 0.3. Then maybe this angle in here to be 75. Then the height in here to be 0.9. Maybe let's make another line in here. Let's define this angle to be 42. Why not? Okay, that seems mostly fully defined. And then another thing I could do is just a little circle that goes. Yeah, I think it's about right. I'm just gonna give this a quick dimension. Yeah, that seems okay. Then we can worry about the windows and everything. And then I'm just gonna close the sketch. And then if you go to features, I can extrude in 2 directions. I can say 0.5 in one, and then 0.5 in the other one. Questions about that little box structure on the top? Oh yes, I did the front. Well, not the front. It would be the right plane, which splits all of this in half. And then just one last thing before I start moving around is that now I can say go here to sketch, and I'm gonna do yet one other circle. This one I'm doing it on this face in there. I'll say that is 0.8. Maybe to keep it simple, I'll leave the box like this, and maybe on my free time, I might finish the details, even though it would be a lot more fun. And then I'm gonna bring this up to 1. Let's see. Oy, maybe a little bit more, 1.1. 1.2. There well, that way I have like a nice little structure in there. Very good. Okay. So now I'm gonna leave it like this. Doesn't look ideal, but I think it's decent in there. So now I can walk around helping you guys. So I'll be back in a moment. I'm gonna continue. So now let's challenge ourselves just to wrap this up. That way I don't want to take much of your guys' times. What do we need to design? We need to design this little column in here. I think that's gonna be relatively easy to do. And then we need to do this arm in here and then this branch in there. So I'm gonna start, I guess, with the easy part, which would be this little structure in there. And I think one way to do it would be the following one. Not that I've tried it in the past, I'm gonna see what would be a cool approach in here. So I'm gonna go here to front plane and I click sketch. And now the next thing I'm gonna do is convert entities. And I'm gonna go up here. And then I'm gonna make that into a center line. And then I'm gonna do a little center line that goes from here all the way like this and like that. So it's just starting and ending in that line. So I can click here on this one, control that one, and make those two equal. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is, actually what I could do is go here to center line and do another one that goes from here all the way there to the bottom. And then I can go, and that one is, this is the midpoint. So if I click on this line, I click control, I click on that one, and I make them perpendicular. Now our triangle is all the way in the middle. So maybe then I can go here to smart dimension and click on those 2 points and maybe make that 0.1. There we go. And then the next thing I can do is click on that and make that 1.9. Yeah, or maybe 2. There we go. Actually, I'm just gonna leave and I'm gonna exit the sketch. Now I'm gonna replicate that same structure on the right plane, which is the other one in there. So I'm gonna go here to sketch, right plane. Now what I can do is, again, convert entities that line, and you'll see it's gonna project it in there. And then I right click and I make it a construction geometry. And then I can go all the way from my center line to the top. Actually, what I could do is I could also convert this line in here. Very good. And I'll make that into a construction geometry. And then I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna go from here, there, and here. Then I click on that line, control that line, and I make these equal as well. And then just like before, I'm gonna make a smart dimension that goes all the way like this. I'll make that 0.1. Was it 0.1? Yeah, I think it was 0.1 what I said. Okay, and I say exit. So now I have like something that's starting to look like a nice cone-like structure. So then the next thing that I think would be useful here is a couple of things. Maybe what would be useful is a plane that goes between these two lines. So this is where, again, the knowledge of math is useful because you go back here to features. I go here to reference geometry and I click on plane and I can click on this line. I can click on that line. And you see how now I have a plane that goes along, I guess, that side of the triangle. I'll say, okay, very good. So now the next thing I want to do is do a sketch that is along this plane. And the reason why that is important is because, so it's this plane in there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert entities. I'm going to bring this one and I'm going to bring that one to my plane. Very good. And then I'm going to right click and make those two construction geometries. And then if you go to our structure, it has maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we're gonna try and do something similar. So I'll go here to center line. Oh, this is where, oh, this is gonna be fun. I think I have an idea of how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go here to the line and I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe 5. Maybe I'm gonna do something like that. And maybe just to define of our lines, I'm gonna do a center line that goes maybe like this. I'm gonna define of this in just a second. Another one that goes like that. Another one that goes this or like this. And then what I can say is I can click on that one, then hit Control and click on these other ones in here, and I'll make them all parallel. Very good. Oh, there was one that apparently. Oh, maybe I can just, let's see, can I make these two parallel? Very good. What about these ones parallel? Actually, I'll leave that one. It's not the end of the world. Maybe for the purposes of this, I'm just gonna leave it undefined, which is not what I would want to do, but just for, oh, why wouldn't that one go? Oh, because it's perpendicular to that. I see. Let's see what's going on. Well, I don't know. I think it's fine. I'll leave it like that. And now I'm gonna exit my sketch. So here's what we're gonna do. First thing is I'll go here to sketch. I'll go down here. And I'm gonna do a circle, say at one of these points. Let's make that, I think, yeah, 0.1 is fine. And then on features, I'm gonna extrude all the way up to vertex. So let's choose, where's our friend, up to vertex, very good. And I'm gonna choose this point up here. And then along direction, I want this line. Very good. And now the next thing I'll do is a quick circular pattern of this. Along which direction? This one. So now we got 4 of those. Very good. And now, just to complicate our lives just a little bit more, I'm gonna do yet, let's see, I'm gonna here to reference geometries, plane, and I'll choose this point, and I'll choose that line, and I'm gonna make another sketch along this plane. I'll make a very, very tiny circle. Maybe let's make it 0.05. And now here's where one of my favorite tools of all times that we're gonna use. It's called sweep. And what does sweep do? You go here to features. Then we click on sweep, and then you click on that profile, and then you click on these lines. So you see how now it's gonna start to follow all of these guys in there. And you can click OK, and it does that structure like we said it was gonna do. Now I'm gonna just hide all of this stuff for just a second. And now just to wrap that part up, circular pattern of the sweep. And now we have 4 of those. But now let me answer your questions, if any, about this code.
Can you go over how to create the sideways plane?
The sideway, yes. Let me, oh. I should actually show, let me just bring this back in here. I just see it like that. I just want to get rid. Where's that line there? Okay. Which one of, oh, there were, it was these plane. There we go. Sorry for that. Yes, I had at least were you able to create this little tree? Okay. So you go to reference geometry, plane, you just choose those two lines. I mean, just like say that one and that one. So the two lines, like the two edges that will mark like the side of the pyramid. And that's how you get a plane that is oriented like that. Very good. And now I'm gonna start walking around in just a second, but I wanna show you how very similarly you could now do this little like like triangular structure of the crane. We just need to think it out like how we would want to do this, but I think it wouldn't be that terrible. So the first thing is now, let's see. I'm gonna go here to sketch, sketch, make a plane that goes all the way here. I'm gonna do a sketch that goes like this. So assuming that is the front, first I'm gonna do a center line that goes all the way. How long do you want this to be? Maybe something along these lines. Maybe 35, sounds about right. Going all the way from there. And maybe I'm gonna make another center line that goes. Maybe I'm gonna convert to very good. And I'm gonna make yet two other center lines that go all the way like this. And I can click on this, control that, and make those two perpendicular. Same thing in here. And I'm gonna replicate this in here. Here, one out here, take those two. Oh, click on that one, click on that one. I want to make them parallel. This perpendicular. There we go. Okay. I have more or less this grid structure like there. Very good. And now I'm gonna exit the sketch. And what we can do is go here to features, reference geometry, plane. I can choose on that point, and I can choose that line. Now we have a plane that just crosses that right over there. And I can do a circle. Here. Oh, that is 0.09 bigger. I'm gonna do the same circle over here. And now I can extrude both of these up to. How is this looking like? Yeah, that looks decent. I'm gonna hide this. Voila. Okay, so I'm gonna leave my crane in here while I start walking around helping you guys before I continue. But this is gonna be a tricky aspect, so I'll be back in a moment. I guess I'm gonna continue now, just to show you guys that I'm very excited. But at first, I actually wanna save this because I don't want this to disappear. I wanna save it as crane. Very good. Right, so suppose you reach a point that is similar to this, right? So now this is where it might get very interesting. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm not sure what this is, more like my trial and error kind of method, but we'll see whether it works. And in essence, if we go back to the pictures, I wanna make these little pyramids that you can see right over here. Just one repeating unit of those. So to make that, I'm gonna do a sketch in this plane. Very good. I'm gonna go right here. And I will make a rectangle that goes. Are they showing? I don't think. Well, first I'm gonna convert entities. This, I'm gonna convert entities that. Very good. I'm gonna make them construction geometries. And now I'm gonna make a little rectangle that goes like this, which is gonna be more or less my the size of my repeating unit. We'll make this and this be about the same size. So I'll make them equal. Let me just check one thing about this. Yes, I think that's gonna work. And then another thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna define the distance between, I guess, this point and that. Actually, between here and here. Let's make that 0.6. Very good. So I have that little triangle. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make all of that construction geometry. Okay, great. And then another thing that I could do is making a plane. So I'm thinking what would be the best way in here. I have these 4 points and I want the plane to go I think I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm gonna make an X-like structure. I click escape. Very good. Then now we go here to features. I'm gonna create two planes. Plane one is gonna be on, actually, let me go back to sketch 23. Make it, there we go, there we go. So I'm gonna leave this line there. Okay, now yes, exit. So now I got this line in there, so I'm gonna make one plane that goes between this point and that line. So it's that X. Then I'm gonna again make another plane that is between this point and that line like that. Very good. So now I'm gonna make exactly another little triangle. So I'll make a plane, a sketch in this plane. That will go all the way like this. On the top, maybe this tall. Maybe what might be convenient here is converting entities this line. Oh, I'm working on this plane. I didn't even realize. There we go. Now that explains lots of things. And I'm gonna make a little triangle that goes just like that. Then the only thing I need to define is that length to be maybe 0.4. Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe I make that, yeah, I think 0.4. Okay, excellent. Now I'm gonna do another sketch on plane 7. And I'm gonna make it, and I'll make a center line that goes, see, from that point, very good, to this point, to that point, okay. So I got, in other words, I'm building the wireframe of this thing. So I have this pyramid, it looks very decent. So now I'm gonna first hide these planes because I don't need them anymore. But I have more or less this structure. So the first thing I wanna do is I'm gonna do another plane, a geometry plane that goes between this point and that line. And in that one, I will make a little circle. Maybe this one will make it 0.05. And then using our usual approach, we'll locate the features, extrude. I'm gonna choose this direction. And then, actually, no, it's not that one, the direction I want. It is, yeah, it is that one. Very good. And then for vertex, I want to end right. Oh, over there. Very good. So now we got one of the columns. Then I'm gonna do a reference geometry axis. I'm gonna have an axis that goes all the way through there. And then we do a little circular pattern of this thing around that axis. Now I click OK. Now we have that thing, and don't worry about that looking a little bit weird. It's gonna disappear soon. And then now using our newly learned command, well, actually before we do that, I'm gonna do another sketch in here. And maybe I'm gonna make a rectangle that goes all the way like that. Very good. I'm gonna exit that for a second. And now I'm gonna make a sketch. Well, first the features, reference geometry, another plane that is in this point and in that line. Good. And in that one plane, in plane 10, I'm gonna make a little circle. Also 0.05. And then I'll exit. And if you go to features, I'm gonna sweep. And then the line that's gonna follow is this sketch in there. And now we have all of that. So let's start just hiding some of these bad boys. And then I just want to do one more circle that goes like that. So to do one, I go here to plane. I choose that. And then here to sketch. Sketch on that one plane. There you go. Like this. 0.05. Very nice. And I'm gonna make another circle that goes up to the vertex, which is where? There we go. Right there. Good. Now, before I start, I know you probably have a lot of questions. I just want to finish this up before I start going around answering all of your stuff. I'm just gonna hide this. I have this very basic structure. I just need to go 1 second back to one of our original planes, which is maybe this one. Let me just see what was the length of this. That was 60. Okay, good. Because now, here's where the magic happens. And I'm gonna, just in case, save my file if this crashes. I'm gonna make a linear pattern. And this is gonna go in this direction. It's gonna be 0.6. And the features that we want are which ones? It's gonna be this boss extrude, the sweep, and that. Nice. So now we start getting lots of triangles. Very good. Maybe I'm gonna say okay. You see now how they start showing up. One thing that is good is that, and this is where I love SolidWorks in reality, is that I can go back to our original sketch, which I believe was this one. I can edit this. And this rectangle, well, actually, no, that 0.6, I need to see where I defined the original, this length in here, but I don't remember. Oh, actually, I made it, no, I cannot change that. It's fine. I'll just leave it like that. But I could have made these triangles just a little bit longer. But it doesn't matter. I can go here to a linear pattern, edit. Let's see that 25, where that takes us, maybe 40. Very good. Kind of long, but I like that. And I leave it just like that. Great. And now just to wrap up where we are, I can go here to sketch, go to 3D sketch. This is something new for us. And I can click on a line and I can do a sketch that goes from this point all the way to this point right here. So I just want a line. And then I'll go to exit the sketch. You just click on the triangle and you click 3D sketch. Good. And then the very last thing before I start going around is going here to features, reference geometry plane, click on that point, click on that line, okay. And now I'm gonna do a sketch right on that plane. Then it's gonna be maybe a circle this big. You can make it 0.07. Why not? And make this go all the way up to here. So now you got, we're not quite done, but this is how you would do like this side of the crane. It looks pretty decent. I like it. Like the little structure. So I'll just save this and I'll start walking around. And hopefully we have half an hour to at least wrap this part up. The reality is that the crane was meant to be just a warm-up exercise, and it turned out to be a little more than just warm-up. But before I continue, I want to show you really quickly how to make an apple, which might be useful. Is do you think looking at the crane right now, at least the step where you got to, do you more or less understand the logic behind the commands? Now you realize that it's the stuff that we've been, besides a couple of commands, it's the stuff that we've been using so far in the last couple of weeks. And please come to me with questions afterwards, and I'm more than happy to answer them. And I'll record myself afterwards again, finishing the crane for you guys. But now, and I'll answer all your questions in a moment. I want to show you guys one last thing, something that it should take me maybe 5 minutes. I'm gonna make a new part, and now let's find a picture of an apple. One second, but really, this is very cool, and this one I encourage you guys to try it out in your free time afterwards. I like this one. Let's use this one as an example. I'm gonna save images. Yes, apple. And save. Okay. Let me do a quick sketch here in the front plane. And I'm gonna bring here the tools, sketch tools, sketch picture, the apple. Very good. And now I'm gonna maybe go like this and say, okay. And now I'm gonna cut just a wedge of this apple. So maybe I'm gonna start from like this point like this. I'm gonna make like this, and then using our friend, I suppose the spline tool. And this is really approximate, right? It's like nothing. Into fancy, I'm gonna make something that looks more or less like this. And this is really a very similar approach with how you would make the banana as well. And then I'm gonna make a little line that goes like that. Very good. And I'm gonna exit my sketch. I'm gonna leave that like that. Go to there, the little triangle and sketch picture. I'm gonna suppress it. So that happened on our front plane. Now I'm gonna do another sketch on, I suppose it would be the right plane. There we go. So we have that wedge of the apple left in there. And I'm gonna go back to tools, sketch picture, apple. We said, I think we said that was 2. Very good. And now I'm gonna try, I'm gonna try to place the apple more or less in the middle. Actually, that is. Oh, hold on. Why? Maybe this is not the correct way of doing it. So I'm gonna actually delete this. Let me just exit. Oh, I know why. I need a plane that I'm gonna edit this for a second. I need a plane that is just in cutting that. So to do that, I'll do a quick center line that goes like that. I'm gonna exit. So now I go here to features, reference geometry, plane. I choose on that point, I choose on that line. So now, yes, I do have a plane. Right there. So now I can go back here to sketch, and then tools, sketch tools, sketch picture. Now, yes, let's bring our apple to that plane. Let's make that size 2. And let's try to place it approximately there. So in essence, I'm just trying to build a quarter wedge of this apple. So I'll say, okay, and now let's try to do another spline. So it's gonna go maybe like this. It's making me hungry to think about this apple right now. Go like that. Very good. And now I will make another line that goes just like this. I'm gonna click escape. And then again, this picture and the little triangle, I'm gonna suppress it. Very good. So now I have, and this plane, I'm still gonna use it for a second. And now we have something that might eventually become an apple. I'm gonna do 2 more things. I'm gonna go back to here, this plane, and I'm gonna make 2 lines, one going upwards and one going downwards. We can make them equal, doesn't matter. In this case, when I smart dimension them to be 0.25. I'll exit. Now I'll hide that plane. And we can go back to features, reference geometry, and then plane. I choose the point on that line. So now I have a plane like that, and then yet another plane that goes like this. And there's no why I'm doing those 2 planes. So now we have 2 planes that are cutting that wedge in half. Is that now I can do a sketch that goes on plane 2. There we go. And you'll see what I'm gonna try and I'm gonna create a spline that goes just a 4-point spline. So I'm gonna click on this point, control this line, and then this command called pierce. So it brings that spline there. And then I'm gonna click on this point, control that line, and then I click on pierce as well. So now I have a cool spline that I can use now to give the apple a little bit of shape on this other direction too. Right, to make it a little bit more organic looking. So this is just, I guess, the tip of the iceberg or something that we're not gonna do a lot of in the class, but it's called surface modeling. You do it a lot, and that's why in the crane exercise, even though it was a warm-up, we did start doing a little bit of wire structures, like the ones that you're starting to see in here. So maybe I'm gonna just build this like that, and I'm gonna exit. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing on plane 3. So I'll go here to sketch, plane 3. Now, and this is gonna be very simple. You'll see now what we'll do in a moment. And I'll do another 4-point spline. And I click on this point, control that line, and I'll pierce. I'll click on this point, control that line, pierce. Very good. And now I can just move around these points. Very good. I think that's decent in there. Okay, so now I'll exit. So this is more or less what we are looking at right now. I'm gonna hide those 2 planes. And now, just give me one moment. Oh, I get lost, right? Because this is there we go. So now you can go here to features and click on loft. And that was really one of the commands I wanted to teach you today. But you click on this point, and then you click on this other line in there. Let me just move, there we go. So now we have the wedge coming to life. And then on guiding curves, I can click on this line there and on that line there. So now we have something that might be an upper wedge. And now here's where we do our magic. We mirror face this, and I wanna mirror this stuff. and then mirror face this, and I want to mirror this stuff. Oh, actually, hold on, let me just go back to this one. I also need to mirror the first one. Oh, cannot find. Oh, right, because it's gonna, I know exactly what's going on in this one, so I'm gonna delete it. I need, what was our plane? There we go, plane one. I'm gonna do a mirror along plane one. There we go, and features this and that. Not fine. Well, I'll figure it afterwards, like what's going on. But I'll leave it like this. So this is more or less how you make a very simple Apple model. Obviously, this is not exhaustive. I'll probably start on Wednesday by doing something a little bit more complicated than this. But I want to give you a quick preview. Or maybe I'll try it this afternoon again. And obviously, this doesn't look very nice, but it's a SolidWorks approach to doing it. Another one would have been to maybe revolve. Another one would have been to maybe do a circular pattern, but that would require this and that being equal. And you can also make more than one wedge. You could have done an eighth of a wedge and have like more control over the quality. That being said, I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment, and I will stop the recording. I think Zoom people forgot. I'll still have the Zoom open. Alrighty. Hi, folks. Welcome back again. This is, I guess, 8 p.m. So this is the very late evening session, I suppose. And as promised, I just wanted to wrap up today's video, at least the crane portion, just by finishing the crane, right? Because I'm very satisfied with what we've done so far. But I realize I owe you perhaps doing a little bit more of this just to make it look nice. So in essence, I just want to do a couple of last things regarding here. Something that I'm not very satisfied is with this design, so I'm trying to fix that. And I'm gonna add some stuff back here, and then a couple of more details there, and I'm gonna save it and just wrap up the session. So the first thing I want to actually do is I'm gonna actually I'll go back in time for the linear pattern just to this little triangle. And in fact, I want to actually go to, I believe it's this plane or that one in there. I'm gonna edit. There was something I did because this line and this line, they were, I believe, I was making there we go. I'm gonna remove that constraint. So I'm gonna say delete. And the reason why I'm doing that is because now I just wanted to make this rectangle be bigger. So what about making that be 1? Or maybe a little bit more. I can make it match the other one, which was 1.5. Now that way it looks a little bit, I think it's gonna look a little better. Yes, it's gonna obviously give me some errors, but that's why we're here to fix this up. So let's see, where did we mess up? Right, so maybe I'm gonna go do, uh, maybe I need to go back in time. All right, let's start with this sketch. So maybe, yes, this is clearly very, very wrong. It probably has to be oriented along that direction. So maybe I'm gonna restructure. No, that plane is fine. I'm gonna look into that plane. So I'm gonna edit this plane. Very good. Yeah, that seems. Oh, I see. I see what's going on. It's slightly off because if I want the plane to be along this line in there, and I guess what would be a good approach to do that? I would need it to be perpendicular to that line. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this sketch. I'm gonna edit it. There we go. Where are we? Excellent. Over here. And I'm gonna create 2 center lines. One that goes like this. I'm gonna click on this one, control that one, and I'll say perpendicular. And let's define that just for completion. Good. And then I'm gonna create yet another center line. I want one that is perpendicular to that one. Very good. Click that one, control that one, make that perpendicular. Smart dimension that. Good. And now, yes, I'm gonna exit. Still the same errors. Yeah, continue. Doesn't matter. So now for plane 7, I can edit this bad boy. And instead of choosing, oh, There we go. Instead of choosing this line, I'm gonna choose this one over here. So I'm gonna get rid of that and I'll say, give me that one. Good. Yes, you're gonna complain, I know about that. While for this one, the same story. I'm gonna edit this plane and I'm gonna get rid of that line and I'll choose instead this one. So now it's gonna be along there. Good, complain, that's fine. It's starting to look slightly better, I guess. So now let's see, what do you have? Oh, I see. So now the big error that we're gonna get here is that the circular pattern that we have is obviously gonna be wrong. So I'm gonna get rid of it for a second. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. Not the end of the world. Instead, what we could do is, I suppose, I would need. I want to have the triangular sketch in here. Let's see. Maybe I'm not. I'm not showing it right now. There we go. I'm gonna show it. So now I'm gonna do another sketch. Well, at first, features geometry plane from this point going all the way up to this line. Very good. And now I don't even remember what size did these have. So maybe I'm gonna review it over here, edit. So that was 0.05, okay. Yes, I know. All right, so I'm gonna do a sketch on plane 13. And where are you, plane 13? Over there, good. And select that point. And let's make this 0.05. And now the usual extrude, or yes, it goes along that direction up to after friend the vertex. So I want this direction and this vertex right over there. I'm gonna click OK. And now what we could do is a mirror. And I guess a very easy way to do a mirror is first, reference geometry plane. I'm gonna create a plane right in there. Good. It chops that in half. I think I'm gonna get rid of 13, so I'm gonna hide that. And then now we have a massive plane. I'm gonna do a mirror. So I'm gonna click on this plane and then on those two guys. Good. Oh, interesting. So this one would be this one. Interesting. Like why they go all the way to the top? Let me just mirror, say this one, right? Let's see what happens if I mirror. There we go. Where would you take me? Oh, I see. So maybe I messed up something along. Let me just go back to mirror. I'm gonna select the two. And maybe actually let me this is well actually first things first, let me just correct a couple of things around here. Yes, I understand that right now there's a couple of complications. I'm gonna delete all of this. Then I'm gonna make a rectangle that joins all of those points. Good. So now that has been fixed. As for this line, let me go here. Let's edit this again. And it's starting all the way in there. Maybe I'm just gonna clear selection. Maybe I'm just gonna leave it like that. Oh, well, that did do the trick. Who knew? Okay, so I'm satisfied with this. And then I'm not gonna get rid of that yet. I'm gonna have all of this here. Maybe I'm gonna hide this sketch. I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna hide that because I ended up not using that axis. Yeah, so now it's slightly nicer. I'm not um I'm not in disagreement with that. So now yes, let's do a linear pattern of this thing. So direction that features. Let's select all of this stuff. So it would be that sweep. It's gonna be boss extrude, mirror, and that one in there. And the distance actually has to be 1.5. There we go. And yeah, 15 might be a little bit too many. Maybe we might do 60. Let's see. There we go. That seems about right. I'm gonna give it okay. Excellent. Very good. So now I'm You see, now I'm a little bit more satisfied with this structure overall. Looks a little bit better. Maybe one thing that I might change right now is I want to go maybe to edit the height of this triangle. So the sketch seems that it was referenced with respect to the previous one. So I'm going to edit 24, which seems to, yes. So maybe this, I might make it 0.5. Let's see. Does everything work out? Yes, it does. Very good. So now I can go back and now, yes, I'm going to do a 3D sketch. Normally I wouldn't do this, but just for this instance, it is easier to choose a point like that. And then a point like this. Good. And I'm going to exit the free sketch by clicking like this. And then I can do a feature, geometry, plane, click on that point, click on that line. Very good. Do a sketch right on there. So we're gonna make a circle that goes all the way like that. Let's make that be 0.1. And let's make this go all the way up to the vertex as usual. There. Good. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. So what is the diameter of these ones? Let me evaluate, measure. That was 0.09. So actually, you know what? Let me go back to our friend in here. That way for consistency, we have all the same. So 0.09. Good. Exit. So we're left with something like that. So first things first, I'm gonna save this. There we go. Now I can get rid of those planes. I hide them. Okay. So what's next? So then if we go back to our pictures, well, this is course racket. I'm gonna show you a little bit of this in just a moment. But if we go back to the crane, there's a little structure, one of the ones at the very front. So let's see. So at the very back, there's like two beams that go all the way back. And then at the very front, there's the same thing. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do this part over here. But first I'm gonna go all the way there. So in other words, I want to make a line that goes from here to there and from here to there. So maybe one way I'm gonna try doing that is if I do again, you maybe shouldn't try this, but it's okay. I'm gonna do a 3D sketch that goes from this point all the way there. Excellent. I'll click escape. And now I'm gonna do the exact same thing for the sketch. It goes maybe all the way from here to there. Good. And I'll exit. So now I have two different sketches. So then the next thing we could do here is now going to friend the reference geometry and then plane, and I click all the way like that. And then, yes, we could do another little circle that goes 0.05 and ends right there. So features up to vertex all the way like that. So now we have a nice little structure, just like a nice frame. Yeah, we can leave it like that. And then, in fact, I'm gonna clear that up in just a moment. And there was no need for this one in the end because I can mirror this stuff in case I do a plane, go like that, good. And then mirror these features around there. Okay, now I'm gonna hide this. I don't need that. And then sketch. What we can do right here is convert entities. I convert both sides. Nice, and then I can just extrude cut on the opposite direction. Through one. That way you don't even realize. And then just to make this neat, I can fillet those two edges. 0.10 is too big, so maybe let's try 0.05. 0.01, let's see. And there we go. And then I can hide. Well, the same thing over here. I could potentially fillet this. Let's see how would that look like. Okay, not bad. I'm gonna hide that. Looks decent. Actually, a nice little trick that we could do in here is I could now do a sketch, and go all the way in there just to get rid of those nasty aspects. I could either make a ball. In fact, let's do a ball. I think that would be neat. But I do need to make a sketch here. So how would you do it? I'm gonna convert entities, all of that. Great. And now what we can do is line that goes all the way from here to there, and then a semicircle that goes from here to here. Good. And now features, revolve, just like that. And I have a nice little ball joint that takes care of that. I could have done the same thing in there, but I'm satisfied with that. Okay, good on that front. Yeah, this looks decent. And now I'm gonna do the same thing on the back. I'm gonna have two beams that go all the way from here to there and all the way from here to there, just to wrap up, I guess, the very front of the structure. So to do that again, I'm gonna go here to sketch, 3D sketch. I click on the line and I'm gonna go from here all the way to there. Very good. I'll click escape. That one I'm not sure why. Oh, let's see if I can click on that point. Control that point. Make a coincidence. Oh, there we go. Excellent. And now I'm gonna exit. And then the next thing I'll do is a quick features, reference geometry plane, this point of that line. I'm gonna save, then there, sketch, plane 18. And then a little circle, 0.05. It goes all the way up to that point. Good. What I do that, so yeah, so you can not notice it there. So now I'm gonna hide this and I'm gonna get rid of that as well. Then the next thing, I'm gonna do a mirror of this thing. Well, mirror plane, I'm gonna choose the last one we were using. So that was plane 80, no, that was plane 17. Here, plane 17. Features, this bad boy, good. I'm gonna save. And now, just like as we did a moment ago, I'm gonna fillet this. Yes, I'm gonna leave it like that. And now sketch, I'm gonna choose that face. I'm gonna convert entities. I'm gonna make it construction geometry, and then I'm gonna do a line that goes all the way from here to there, and then a semicircle that goes all the way like that, and then features, revolve along here. Fantastic. Now we got a nice little ball joint structure that goes all the way up to there. A nice looking column for our, yeah, so this is looking very decent. So I guess before I continue with this side, first let's save. Very good. Then before I continue, I'm gonna make a couple of details on our cabin. You see, like I haven't. Oh, we're back on the squash racket. I was basing it off from this one structure in particular. Um, and I guess it's interesting how the guy gets there in the first place. So just to keep it simple, I'll make it a structure that looks more or less like that, and maybe with a window. So to make the window-like structure, I'm gonna teach you guys something new. This is just a preview of what's coming up, uh, just literally on Wednesday. So I want a plane that is more or less here. So the first thing I want to do is do a sketch right over there. And I'm gonna make a center line that goes all the way like this. Smart, oh, smart dimension, yeah, 1.5, it doesn't matter as long as it's far enough. Exit, and now reference geometry, plane, oh, plane, point and line, good. And now sketch, spline 19. And we're gonna convert entities this face. So I'm projecting that face into that plane. Good. So now what I would like to do is just basing it off from that design in there. I'm gonna offset entities on the three sides just inwards. Let's see. By point, let's see how that look like. Um, yeah, that's fine. Maybe 0.05. That's good. And maybe another thing I could do is a fillet over there, maybe decently big. Yeah, like that. Okay, so now the remaining part, I'm gonna, well, first exit then this stuff. I'm gonna make construction geometry, and then I'm gonna close off this stuff. So I'm not gonna extrude into that. Instead, I'm gonna wrap. And you see, this is a very cool command that we're gonna learn on Wednesday. But in reality, I'm gonna go all the way. Where's a friend the wrap? It's this button in there. So yes, I wanna do it in here into this face. Wouldn't you see how it's like wrapping over there? Yes, I'm wrapping inwards. So if I click OK, you see that it is marking like that space over there. Yes, it's a more or less that stuff. And I'm gonna do, well, I'm not gonna do the same thing here because this was curved, so that's why it was useful. And here I'm just gonna directly draw it and then I'll mirror it. But I think that is decently nice. So what I'm gonna do here is sketch, sketch over there. And I'm gonna offset as well. Oh yeah, Control Z. Let's see if I can offset these two guys inwards as well. But here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make these two construction geometries because I obviously want to do not the entire structure, right? So maybe around here, where is something along? I'm just trying to follow more or less. Yes, I'm gonna choose here and there. I'll make it tangent. There we go. And then I'm gonna just follow through that line, good, like that, and the same thing over here. Right, and maybe I'm not gonna define it, I'll just leave it like that, but I can extrude cut also by 0.01, which is, I believe, as much as I was cutting before. Which I noticeable, right? That is like the window of our, I guess, of our cabin in there. Um, and just for fun, I could actually also do a nice fillet in there. Oh, delete that little edge there. And this edge. Oh, let's see if I can set it. Oh no. Over there. 3.2. Let's be generous. All the way like that. Yeah, like that. So yeah, so it's starting to look a little bit more realistic and yeah, we could make like a design in there and maybe over here have an idea of something that I'll be doing in just a second. So now, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mirror, I guess this feature, well, the feature is this one. I'm gonna mirror it again, the same plane that we were using before, which is plane 17. Very good. It's gonna appear on that side. Great. Then I'm gonna save. Then here I'm just gonna make, I suppose, like two pillars that go all the way from the top. They might be useful afterwards. I'm not sure. But I guess I wanna make a little sketch that goes like this. Um, there we go. And then let's make, I suppose, two lines. Well, maybe just one line. Make it on this side. And let's smart dimension this to be maybe 0.25. Great, exit. And now I'm gonna feature, choose this face and make a little circle that is maybe 0.15 big. And now what we can do is the usual extrude cut along this direction. No, vertex clear. Direction, I want this one. Vertex, that point, good. Yes, so now we have a nice little column that goes like that. I'm gonna hide that. And then what we could do is do a mirror, well, mirror plane 17, where are you? Of features, this, good. And I might use those two columns afterwards. That way we can easily differentiate the front and the back of our crane. Okay, so we have this incursion. Now, it's not crane if we don't do the back. And I think the back is going to be fun because we can also add, I guess, these two cables and whatnot. So yeah, we have that in there. In essence, we have to do like a little structure. I'll also make it using two little pillars that go all the way like that. I'll also make a little zigzaggy, and then we need to add the massive weight. And I'll save myself the effort of doing all of the little structure around it. Although, again, it's up to you guys. It depends on how much effort and time you want to put into this. So maybe the easiest approach that we could do here is maybe making a continuation of those circles. In fact, I don't even remember how I did those in the first place. Yeah, they were like circles that point on nine that were originating in those points over there. Yeah, so I could potentially do something similar to that. Maybe I'm gonna offset it a little bit downwards to make it more interesting. In fact, maybe I'm gonna do like a little structure where those two are gonna be coming off from, but still the same separation, I guess. So I'm gonna make a center line that goes all the way like that. And then maybe a center rectangle that goes like this. Maybe this stuff, I'm gonna make it be 0.15. Oh, yes, that was too much. 0.15. Then I'm gonna make this line control that line be collinear. And maybe I'm gonna make this overall be 0.1. So just slightly thicker. Then let's see, I'm just curious to see how would this look like. Let's see, 0.5. Well, that's a lot. 0.1. Here, so 1. 0.1 is like a nice little square. Let's see. Yeah, this seems about right. And then again, I suppose fillet this edge over here. Oh, that would look interesting. Well, that's too much, but I like the concept. Maybe 0.05. What would that be? Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna hide that. And then our circles are actually gonna come off from there. I think this might be like a neat little extension. And then I'm gonna make these, I'm gonna move them in a way that they're gonna be aligned with that. So then I'm gonna go here to sketch, and then actually I could convert entities, make construction geometry, and then make a line like that. I guess one thing I could do, since we're here and it's part of, I'm gonna make a little loft, because why not, right? So I'm gonna, I think the best way to do this is reference geometry, plane, just a quick plane that is 0.1 inches offset from here. Yeah, that looks okay. I'm gonna do a sketch on this plane. And I'm gonna, let's see, convert entities that line. Excellent. And I'm gonna make a construction geometry. And then I'm gonna make a circle that is, oh, circle that is, there we go. 0.09 big. That way we're consistent. Excellent. Exit. And now we can do a loft, and it's literally that example loft from here to there. I mean, it looks nice. It's just transitioning nicely from a square to a circle surface. And I can just hide that. Very good. And then I'm probably gonna get rid of some of those edges in a moment. And then I can go here to sketch and just convert entities and make it go all the way, maybe, I don't know, let's say 5. 5 might be too much, maybe 4. Yeah, that seems, let's see. Yeah, 4 sounds about right. Let's try to make this. In fact, maybe what we could do is just, I'm gonna do a little sketch over here, and I'm gonna mirror all of this stuff. This is just decorative aspects, I would say, in my eyes. Where I'm gonna maybe I'm gonna convert entities. This little circle. That's half of the circle. Let's see what happens if I do the entire circle. Oh, there we go. Good. Oh, can I bring? Yes. 5.3. Oh, I have a great idea. I'm gonna leave that as it is. I'm gonna exit. And then actually I'm gonna still edit that for a second. And I'm gonna make a little straight line that goes from here to there. Good. What I might do is, well, actually, before I do anything, I'm gonna bring this up by a little amount, maybe 0.1, 0.05. There. Oh, well, let me edit that. There we go. And now that we got that set up, what I want to do is another sketch in there. I just wish it didn't turn all the way always. And I'm gonna create a, yeah, those 2 lines. Great. Exit features, geometry plane, point and line. Good. And now I want to see whether I can make a new sketch. Goes from here to there. And I'm gonna see whether I can convert. There we go. And I edit that. There we go. And I'm gonna make a little hemisphere. There we go. Nice. Then a little line that goes downwards like that. Good. Then I'm gonna click on that line, control this line. I'll make them tangent. Excellent. Exit. Good. And now features, reference geometry plane, point and line. Very nice. Sketch on this little plane. And I'm gonna make that a little bit smaller, so 0.08. Good. Exit. So let's see, I'm gonna make a loft that goes from here to there. And there's a, I can have a center line parameter. I want to have that be the center line. Very good. Let's see. Oh boy, that looks very nice. I'm gonna hide that in there. Save this stuff. So we're close to being done. I think very satisfied with this stuff. Maybe a couple of fillets around this stuff. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, that looks very good. Like it doesn't have any particular purpose. I just think it looks cool to have a structure that is more or less like that, but just to make it a little bit different, right? And so now we can mirror again across 17. Let's click on where were you here? And all of our features will be, where did we start? Uh, yes, it was, no, it's all of these guys. Actually, oh, maybe some of the loft staff might be complaining. Or maybe I'll leave that one. What if I take that one? Let's see. No, I shall take that as well. Oh, that is unfortunate. I'm just gonna copy that. I may need to replicate some of the geometries, but that is fine. It's not the end of the world. I can easily, now that I've done it once, it's easy to do twice. So we first convert entities, boom, boom, circle, like that. Oh, that's the only problem about loft. It sometimes doesn't like to get mirrored, but that's okay. You know, it gives us a little bit more practice just doing other. Well, since I'm here, I'll increase that. Now that was plane, boom. Okay, sketch, plane 10. Gonna convert entities. Gonna make a little center line, just like that, circle. Nine, great, exit features, loft, boom. Sketch, convert entities, boom. Up to surface, I'm gonna make them equal. Great, and now all I'm missing is the stuff on this side. So sketch. Um, actually, I'm gonna do a sketch along. What was our plane? 21. Good. Convert entities that. I'm gonna convert entities that. I'm gonna make that construction geometries, and then line, boom, center line down, control, tangent, 6, great, exit, And now last thing, feature, reference geometry plane, uh, line, grade sketch on that one. And let's do it 0.08, I think it was. Great. Now loft. Great. So that was a lot quicker. Now, once you've done it once, it's easy to do it twice. Very good. Oh, and now we just need to fillet all the stuff that we said we're gonna fillet. Very good. And now I'm just gonna save all of this stuff. Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm still a little bit unconvinced about that structure, but overall, this looks good. Okay. So now, just I don't want to complicate my life too much. I'm just gonna do a quick zigzag pattern there, and then once we do that, I'll add this massive block, and then we should be all set. So maybe the first thing I might start with is, let's see whether we have a good old plane. So maybe something I should have done before is, if I could go back in time to, let's see, what would be a good way of doing this? I want a plane that traverses that in half. So, well, I'll do it here. Sketch. I'm gonna convert these two guys. Good. Center line. That goes all the way like that. Good. I'm gonna get rid of those. Now center line. There goes all the way like that. Good. Smart dimension. Good. And now features. Plane. Geometry. Oh, oh, I see. I have to exit the sketch. That is my bad. Now, yes, features. Geometry. Plane. Point and line. Good. And now, guess what can we start? Let's do sketch. Sketch. Let's start doing stuff over here. So, what I can do is a center line that goes all the way from here to there. I'm gonna do another center line that goes all the way from this point to here. Good. Okay. Now we could probably dimension this to be 3.5. Why not? Great. So that's gonna be our first line. So I'm gonna do maybe something like this. Then maybe something like that. And I'm gonna define this distance over here to be 1.5, which means so it's approximately gonna be like that. So maybe I'm gonna make it slightly, yeah, they are about the same length, I guess. Yeah, so maybe I can leave it like that. If I make two of these, it's gonna take over. Right, so maybe I'll just make one. That way I can have like a double pattern. So let's start by doing that. Okay. So two planes that we need to create features. Geometry, plane. Plane one, it's this one. Plane two, it's this one. So on plane one, there we go. Little circle. 0.05. And let's extrude all the way up to our friend the vertex. Over there, good. Now plane two. Extrude all the way up to this point. Great. I'm gonna hide. And now what we can do is, yeah, I can hide those as well. Very good. Oh, there's another plane somewhere. I don't need that. And yeah, let's just start hiding stuff because we're close to being done. Actually, in fact, it's important to save while you go in case Solidworks crashes. You never know when that's gonna happen. Maybe I can still change a couple of things, which I may do in just a moment to see the robustness of the software and why fully defining stuff is important. But I'm gonna now do a quick linear pattern. Along which direction? I should have shown maybe let's show this. Maybe along that direction and features just um that and that. Good. And what you want, just one and just two. Okay. That looks great. And then I'm gonna do yet one other linear pattern of along this direction of just this bad boy. I want it to be just two. In this case, I'm gonna make it 2 inches. That way it appears right over there. Excellent. And then I'm gonna yet make one more linear pattern where I want this to appear right over there. Well, actually, basing off from this, there's like a little platform. So maybe I'm gonna make it slightly differently. So maybe what I'm gonna do is sketch plane 25. A little platform that goes, well, maybe not exactly from there, but maybe, oh, it disappeared. I hit it again. Or maybe I should convert that and that. Otherwise, I don't see what's going on. There we go. I'm gonna make that 0.2. And oh, let's move this stuff in here. Great. And I'll make a line from here to there. 0.02. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I'm gonna extrude upwards by 0.01 and downwards by 0.01. Good. And now all we left to do is the massive piece of cement. And this one, what I think we're gonna do is I'm gonna make yet maybe another structure like this. It's gonna go over there. So maybe for this, let's see, 0.02. Great. And now another linear pattern of this stuff. Maybe 1 inch, maybe 1.2. Yeah, that is right what I needed. Right, I'm gonna hide. And now, yes, we need like a massive piece of cement, and I'm gonna make it as something that is like resting in there. And I could make it either like that, or I can just make a massive block. I think for the purposes of our work, I'm just gonna make a massive block. And the way that we're gonna do this is just like this. We're the sketch here. Make a center line that goes all the way like that. And then a massive rectangle that goes just like that. Yeah, that is all right. And it's gonna go maybe, let's see, 0.4 up and 0.8 down. That seems reasonable. Leave it like that. I just want to see, I'm not very familiar. These blocks, maybe I could add a couple of more details, maybe like a quick chamfer upon that edge in there to make it look a little bit more realistic, right? Than just yeah, that sounds, I like that. Yeah, maybe I'm just gonna leave it like that. And now just to wrap it up, I'm gonna create two cables that will go from here all the way to the top. And in here, I'm also gonna make a little dome structure. First things first, I'm gonna do a quick sketch. And this is gonna be a sketch that goes like that. Nothing too fancy, just want that point to be marked. And then over here, sketch, sketch. Uh, let's see. This goes all the way up to this point in there, right? So maybe I'm gonna go first from here. Or maybe what would be useful would be to make convert entities of something like that. Okay. And now we'll go with my center line all the way up to here. Smart dimension 1.3. Great. Excellent. So I'm gonna exit my sketch. Now, 3D sketch, straight line that goes all the way from wherever this ends, good, to this point over there, good. Exit, very nice. And then, as usual, features, reference, geometry, plane, point and line. And then sketch, sketch. And this time we're gonna make it slightly smaller, like 0.03. 0.03, good. And now features, I wanna make it up to vertex. Make it go all the way there. That's great. I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna hide that as well. Maybe, yeah, I could do something that goes all the way to the top, but I would need to decrease the height of that. So maybe I'm just gonna leave it. Yeah, I'll just leave it like that. I'm gonna mirror along 17. Let's see where 17 is. Gets lost in space and time, to be fair. Plane, there we go. And feature is gonna be this. Very good. And now just to wrap this up, sketch, sketch, sketch. And our last stuff that we're gonna do before starting to convert entities. Before starting to color this a little bit, is this one feature. Very good. Feature, revolve around there, and nobody notices that. Very good. So there we got it. The finished. Great. Now, actually, first let me save. And now that I'm realizing it, I want to make these columns slightly thinner. So maybe the way that we might end up doing that is if we go down to, I believe it's this one right here. So maybe let's make that 0.25. Let's see how things change. Very good. It didn't seem thoroughly badly affected. Okay. This looks fairly good. And now I'm just gonna right click everything and change the entire body to make it, say, aluminum. Just like that. Let's make it red. Or actually yellow, right? Because we used originally a yellow crane. Maybe for certain parts, like say this was extrude, we can make them differently colored. Uh, yeah. Or maybe this is something that it could be. Well, folks, there you got it. I think this looks very nice, like a nice, at least like a nice model of a simple crane. Obviously, you can add more details, but I'm very satisfied. Hope you learned a little bit out of this exercise. And well, thank you as usual for tuning in. I'm gonna save this and bye. Until next time. So let's go down to SolidWorks. And for those folks that are just arriving, let me just go here. I went to Chrome and I downloaded a picture like this one. It doesn't matter which one. Just download a random picture of a squash racket. I think this model of racket is a little bit easier to do than this one because this one has like this one looks like a mini tennis racket, right? It has like a little frame in there. Well, this one is called a teardrop because it looks like a teardrop, but and it doesn't have like this stuff there. So let's see. Let's give it a shot, all of us together. Now, hopefully, you guys saw the watch, right, that I sent last time. What did you guys see it on the email? That was great. That we did it. I stayed until late the other day, and also the stuff that I did with the morning people was this crane, which I'm gonna finish doing later today. I thought it was like a nice exercise. Illustrates very similar stuff to the squash racket. For instance, we're gonna do the strings in a similar way, and this is a linear pattern. The video for this obviously will be up afterwards, and we didn't finish it. So I'm gonna finish it afterwards in my free time, and I'll show you guys that video if you're interested in on designing a structure like this one. But for us, let's go here to let's do a new part. And as usual, you go here to sketch. I'll choose the top plane. And now I'll go over, actually, I'm gonna minimize myself. There we go. Next, I go here to tools, sketch tools, and then sketch picture. And I'm gonna bring the squash racket. And there we go. And obviously for the size, yeah, very big. I think that might be fine, maybe 15 inches. something along those lines, and I'll say yes. And then I'll go over to center line and I'll start drawing some center lines that will be definitely useful in just a moment. So one that goes approximately up to here, and then I'll make this one go all the way up to that point. And then we can play a little bit around in here just to make sure it's more or less centered. It doesn't need to be perfect, obviously. And I click Smart Dimension, and I'm gonna dimension all of this stuff. There we go. And now we're gonna start actually. So I'm gonna first start drawing a spline. And this spline is gonna go around the structure of the racket. And then I'm gonna do another spline that goes within the interior of the racket. Or actually, I'm gonna just do one around here and then I'll offset the entity. So maybe I'll just start by drawing the contour. And I'll do half of this because we can make use of symmetry. So I'll draw a line like that, and because we are just drawing the contour, don't worry about fully defining stuff. So I'm gonna start like this. There we go. And then I go here with a straight line. I go all the way like that. Yeah, that looks decent over there. And then I'm gonna come down over here. Oh. You need to, if you click and you can drag the point just to make it look a little bit nicer. There we go. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. Then we can modify as we wish. And then I'm gonna do another straight line that goes maybe all the way, maybe up to here. There we go. And now I'm gonna do a very big spline that's gonna go all the way across the surface. See, so this is a point where there we go. I'll come back to this afterwards. You see how it's like a little bit off. That's okay. Very nice. What I like about splines is that sometimes when you make big points like this, it follows the curvature pretty nicely. There we go. That sounds good. And then let me just come back here because I didn't like how that looks like. I can drag that point like that. So hopefully this stuff, at least tracing the racket like this, doesn't seem too difficult. And I'm gonna, just to make it very nice, I'll make a center line that goes like this. And then if you click in the spline, control that center line, you can make those two tangents. Very good. So then the next thing we could do is a mirror. So I'm gonna go up here to mirror, entities to mirror. I'm gonna mirror this spline, this one, this line over there, that one, this and that. And I'm gonna mirror about this line in here. Very good. And I'll see, you see, it's not gonna be perfect because through the mirror, you see that this line is kind of eating into the shape over there. But that is fine. Like it's not, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's gonna be like a slightly smaller racket. And now I can exit the sketch and I have more or less the rough outline of the racket. And I can go here to the triangle and I'll right click in sketch picture and I'll suppress this. All right, so I'm gonna leave it like this for now. And then one thing that we can try, actually, I'm gonna still show it because I'm gonna unsuppress this. So now I'm gonna, this one, I'm not gonna touch the sketch. I'm just gonna leave it as it is because it's gonna be our master sketch. What I can now do is another sketch that is gonna be on the top plane. Again, so the same plane that we started. And now what I can do is I can convert entities. So I can convert this line and maybe that line as well. So now what I've done is I brought this line from this sketch onto this sketch. So it's like in the same plane as we were doing on Wednesday of last week when we were learning how to do the logos. And I think what is interesting about here is that now what I want to do is a quick offset entities. So I'm gonna click on this and I want to reverse the direction. Also gonna offset that as well. And when I'm offsetting, I wanna bring the yellow line more or less towards the middle of that. So maybe 0.15 might do the trick, or 0.2. Yeah, so 0.2 seems reasonable for like the middle of it. So you guys are understanding what I did. I traced the outline and now I'm bringing with the offset entities a little bit inward. So if I click OK, you see another set of lines appears. So I can now right click on the outer ones and go to this little symbol to make them construction geometries. And I'll do the same thing with those over there. So now we're left with two lines like that. So now what we can start doing is more or less the racket structure. And now this is where it will get a little bit interesting, because now I can exit my sketch. And now, yes, I'm gonna go back here and I'll suppress this. So how do we do this? Well, I'm gonna go here to features, then reference geometry, and then plane. And I'm gonna click on, actually, yes, I'm gonna do it again, plane. And I click on this point and I'll click on that line. So now I have a plane that starts at that point and is normal as opposed to the line in there. So now what we can do is I'll go here to sketch, sketch. So I'm gonna start doing a little plane. So now, if you look at the racket again, essentially what I wanna draw right now is the cross section of this part of the racket, which is the cross section of the frame. And I think the easiest way to do it would be to draw like a slot. So let's go ahead and do that. So one way we could do it is, I'm gonna go here to center line. And I'm gonna make a little line that goes like that. And perhaps a little line that goes just like that. Smart dimension. Actually, I'm gonna click in here, control that one. I'll make this equal. And then I can make that 0.1. Very good. So we'll see now. I can do a slot that goes like this. And then I can say, right, I want this and this line to be, actually, I don't think that's gonna happen. Let's see, this and that to be, maybe with a point. Let's see. Can I make them coincident? There we go. Excellent. All right, so now I have a slot that goes more or less like that. So this is where the fun starts, because now I can exit the sketch and let's see, features, swept, and I can choose this profile over here and then this guiding curve. So now we'll see, like, will it work? So failed to complete. So now I need to figure out why is it giving us that error. Figure out in a second. Oh, I think I know why. Let me just, I'm gonna hide this for a moment. Let me try again. No, maybe just go back here. Oh, I'm gonna delete that for a second. And I'm gonna make it slightly smaller to see whether that. So sometimes you will encounter errors like this one. And I honestly, it's the first time that I'm seeing that. So I'm just trying out maybe a quick fix in here to see whether it was just because it was just very close to that. Maybe that helps. I don't know. It's probably because of the curvature. Yeah, so that it doesn't seem to do the. Let me see if I try maybe a different geometry. So I'm gonna do another sketch, maybe also on plane one. Here. Let's see if I try instead with a rectangle. It goes something like this. 2. There we go. Sweep, then along here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that was, I guess it was a problem with the geometry. Then I can actually, now that I know that this one works, at least what I can do is, well, this plane, I don't want that. So maybe what I can do is go back to our sketching here and see, all right, I'm gonna try to modify this just a little bit more to see whether maybe it will work in there. Let's see. Yeah, that seems about right. And now just to make it look a little bit fancier, you can go to fillet and then I can choose all of the edges over here. There we go. And just click OK. So now we're starting to look something that is gonna be our racket in just a moment. So I can now also hide that plane. So now one of yes, question. Oh, the plane, yes. So I can go back to oh actually let me go back here. Yeah, that's fine. It is this plane, right? And let me show you the sketch over here. So once you have like the spline, which was like that one, I went here to reference geometry, plane. I clicked on the point and I clicked on the line. So it's a plane that is just normal to the spline at that point. Question over there.
How many lines were there?
In the spline, you mean? Oh, as many as you need. In the sense, let me go back to I guess like lines as in like yeah, just you just go tracing it around. And now that we've done this, I guess just to simplify our lives a little bit more, another thing that we can do is just we can now go here to sketch. We go over to I want to create now a new plane that is more or less around there. So we go, let's see what planes do we already have. All right, so the top plane is the one that chops this in half. So that's good. So I'm gonna do a sketch in the top plane. And I want to create now a line that connects these 2 points. Very good. And I'm gonna make now just a little line that goes like that. Say, yeah, point one, it doesn't matter. And this is just a reference line because now let me just hide this. The reason for that is because now I can go to features, reference geometry plane, and I can click on this point and I can click on that line. So now I have a plane that is right there in the middle. And the reason why I think that is useful is because then I can go here to sketch. I'm gonna do a little sketch on that plane. And we can make a center line that goes maybe all the way like that, and another one that goes all the way like that, and we can click on this one, control that one, make them equal, and now I'll figure out the dimensions in just a second. I just want to do a slot that is more or less like that. Maybe this slot might be 0.45 tall. That sounds about right. And maybe this, we can make it 0.2. That's good. And now I can extrude a little bit upwards, right? So we have like a little frame. Maybe I might extrude more than a little. I'm gonna extrude maybe 0.4. Let's see, 1. Actually, 1 might be a little bit too much. Yeah, I think that's gonna be fine. Then I can make like a little circle in there. And then I'm gonna extrude on the other direction by 0.1. So obviously this is a simplified form of the squash racket, but it's like a decent attempt. Have you guys reached this point, more or less? All right, where should I go back? No, but ask me questions. Question.
So after you have like your whole spline, like how do you make that I guess that oval that then circulates around again?
Exactly. Yeah, so let's go back in time to, I suppose, this point. So you have the spline, right? And then you create this plane. So actually, let's see if I can. The problem is that it doesn't. Let me see if I can. There we go. So what I did is you have the spline, then you go to your reference geometry, you create, say, a plane that is right between that point and on the line, which I can say, okay. And then you go here to sketch, and you do a sketch on exactly that plane. And that's where you define, in my case, I did a rectangle. I wanted to do a slot instead, but the slot for some reason wasn't working. But the rectangle seemed to be working fine. So then you do the little, say, a rectangle, right? That is like that size. And then you would go to features and click on sweep. So you click in that, and then you click in that. And you see that it generates that. And I think something that is pretty cool that I'm gonna delete right now, I'm gonna actually get rid of is that I can go back to the original geometry, right? Which is for the square was this. What I can do is say this is the side, but if you know from squash rackets, if you look into them, like there's one side that it's at least in the outer side, or just racket in general, it has like a little channel. So why don't we do that channel as well for the racket? And I think one way to do that would be if I convert that to a line like this, and then I go maybe down. I'm not sure whether this is gonna work, right? We can give it a shot. I can click this control, and make those two equal. And then I make like a little circle. Yeah, I think that might work. Yeah, 0.1. I should also, yeah, let's say 0.12. Very good. Now I can exit. Yeah, continue, ignore error. So what are you complaining? Oh, you're complaining about the fillets. Okay, let's see. Oh, maybe the fillets are. Oh, right, because it's missing the edge. I see. It wants that edge and it wants that edge. There we go. So now we have a slightly nicer looking outer frame because you have this little channel in there. And this is just the beginning because soon we'll start to add all of the holes to this thing. But what other questions do you guys have? Okay, I'll just since we're looking at the frame, I guess one thing that we could do is I'm gonna show, I guess, see what I know, that's another one I wanna show. I wanna show this one. And I'm gonna do another sketch on the plane that we started with, which is, let's see, this one in here, the top plane. And what I'm gonna start doing right now is just adding a bunch of center lines. And well, first I'm gonna convert entities and I wanna bring, let's even have it over here. Actually, I think the best sketch that I could use would be this one in here. So I'll show this, I'll hide that one. And now I'm gonna convert entities, this and that. There we go. And now maybe one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide this entire thing. There we go. So now I can do my sketch. I can go back to sketch 8. Hide this in there. Actually, in other words, now I'm gonna start making like a grid for this racket. So I'll make a bunch of lines that go all the way like that. And one way to do it is if we just start making first I'm gonna make a center line that goes from this point to that point. Maybe I'll make another center line that goes all the way like that. And now I can choose that center line, control this one, and I can make them parallel. There we go. And now I'm gonna start just creating a bunch of lines that will be all parallel. So not a lot of them, maybe this one is a step that I wouldn't say that like this is where you could make it a special course racket that doesn't have many holes. I'm gonna just maybe make like 20 of these lines or so. And then I'll just go here to center line and I wanna join them through the middle. And hopefully all of this stuff will make sense in just a second. Stuff like this. Very good. I'm gonna continue doing all these lines. Parallel, there we go. I'll make just a couple more here on the top. That sounds about right. And I'm just gonna connect them all through here. I think there are more efficient ways of what I'm gonna do right now, which is the side holes for the racket. But the reality is that this might be very useful for a later step that oh, uh, that we're gonna do later today. Bring it all the way like that. So maybe I'm gonna click in here. I'm gonna say control 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then let's make those. Oh, I'm gonna make them all equal. I'll just make it. I'll leave it like this, and then I'll figure out. I think that should be fine. So I'm gonna exit my sketch. Well, actually, I'm gonna edit this stuff, and I'll make those two. There we go. Now I'll exit. So the reason why I was doing all of this stuff is because now this is an exercise of creating planes. So maybe let me rewind like how I did this stuff, right? So we are, I suppose, at this point of the racket, right? So then I created a new sketch, and the way I created a new sketch was by going to it was a top plane. I went there, and on the one for the sweep, which was that one, I was just showing the sketch, and then I went to convert entities, and I converted those two lines. And then just for simplicity, I clicked on the boss extrude and I hid all of this stuff. So then I should also hide that one that way. So I was left with a sketch that looked more or less like this. And that's when I started just drawing all of the horizontal lines. And I'll start going around in just a moment. But what I want to say is that now, well, actually this, oh, I don't need the sketch right now. But if we go, let me show this one for a second. And I'm gonna hide that one for a second. What I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna create a lot of planes. Actually, I don't need to create a lot. I can just create one. And it's gonna be here in features, reference geometry plane. I'm gonna create a plane that is in that point and that line. So it chops that stuff in half and I'll say, okay, good. And now I'm just gonna make a sketch on plane 4. And I'm gonna make a little tiny circle that is gonna be maybe 0.1 big. There we go. And now I'm gonna make a bunch of circles along all of those points, just like that. And you'll see what's gonna happen with them in a second. I'm gonna click on a circle and then I'll go control, 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 control. I'm gonna just make all of these equal. Go. That one. Oh, actually, let me. I think when it's too many, oh, I should let me get rid of that. Let me just try again. Maybe I'll first do all of these. Let me just then click on this one and I'll do the next few. I'll do the next few. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna exit my sketch and I'm gonna show again the boss extrude. So what we can do is now go back to that sketch, edit, have all of my circles, and then I can say extrude cut, and I'll choose through all, and I'll choose in the other direction also through all. So now I got all of the circles along the frame. So I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna start going around, and I'll leave it like this. That way we can all make sure to reach this point. But before I continue answering more questions, I want to just do the next step for those of you guys that are already finished that interesting pattern. And so I'm going to do the handle right now. But maybe just to add a couple more details to this thing, right? One thing I can do is I'll do a sketch here on the top. And then I can just very quickly, I suppose, convert entities, those lines. Let's see what happens. So I'm just bringing them all the way to the top, and I can make them construction geometry. And really, my sole reason for doing that is because I want to make a little circle that goes like this, and I can say, all right, click in there, control there, and I want to make them tangent. There we go. And then I'm gonna make a little line like that. So now I can extrude this. Yeah, after all, it's fine. That way it looks a little bit more stylistic, and then we can still figure it out. Okay. Then as for this, I'm gonna hide these, but I'm not gonna make the strings today. And then just one last thing about this piece is that I'm gonna actually, even though I did make it go all the way to this side, I'm just gonna convert that entity and I'm gonna extrude cut. No, I wanna have it up to there. There we go. Because that is just to trim a little bit of the part, the stuff that wasn't coming off. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it more or less like that. So now let's do the handle. And the handle, that's where we're gonna start using a couple of another new command, which is gonna be loft. And to use loft, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back to our original sketch and I'm gonna show it in here. All right, so I got the handle there, and first things first, I wanna maybe bring it, I wanna bring the profile of this all the way up to here. So maybe one of the things that we could start with is by doing yet another sketch. Those goes, what is the, all right, there's gonna be this plane, and I'm gonna convert entities again. I'm gonna go here to convert. I'm gonna convert entities of maybe just this stuff. There we go. Maybe this one, I'm gonna go like this. And maybe what I could do is like a little spline that comes off like that. And then what I can say is click on that point, control, click on that edge, and make those two coincident. Or maybe instead of coincident, let's see what there we go. I'm gonna pierce them. Excellent. So I'm gonna leave that as it is. Very good. And then maybe another thing that we could try doing is I'm gonna exit for a moment. Then I'm gonna do another sketch, also in the top plane. This is yes, there we go, excellent. And in this sketch, I'm gonna do a center line that is exactly like this one. Very good. I'm gonna edit that. I'll do it like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna go here to sketch, convert entities, and I wanna convert sketch 13. And that way I wanna have it in here. And then I'm gonna mirror this along this line. I'll say okay. And now these two, I'm gonna make them construction geometries. That way they get out of here. I click exit. And then one last thing I could actually do, well, actually, I'm gonna go back to sketch 14, is a little center line that goes all the way like this to that point. I'll click exit sketch. And now I can do features, reference geometry, plane, click on this point, click on that line. Very good. And now I can make a sketch on plane 5, which is right around there. And I'll make a little rectangle as usual. I'll click on this point in that line, control that point, and I'm gonna make those two coincident. Very good. Then I click on this line and I click on that line and I wanna make the, let's see, collinear. Excellent, there we go. And now since we're here, I'm gonna make a bunch of fillets. I don't remember what was the diameter of those guys. Maybe 0.15, was it? Actually, I could, before I do the fillets, I can go here to evaluate, measure. Let's see. What was that? Radius 0.225. Okay. So let's give that a shot. So I'm gonna go back here to sketch, here to fillet. Well, actually, I'm gonna make it 0.2. I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, good. So let's see now what's gonna happen if I exit the sketch. And then we're gonna inaugurate yet one other command here in features, which is called loft. So in loft, I'm gonna click on, say, this profile, and I'm gonna click in there. So you see now how my handle it's kind of wanting to go from there to there. But since I have these two curves, I'm gonna go here to where it says guiding curves. I'm gonna say, right, I want you to follow actually, oh, I'm using the wrong sketch. I want you to follow curve 13 on curve 14, and I'm gonna say, okay. So now we got a nice looking part of the handle. Not bad, huh? That was, I need some questions about that. Do you guys think you could do it? Because now, and I'll answer in a moment what I want to say, because we're going to do something very similar when we do the remaining portion of the handle. So I'll give you guys maybe, like, I'll start going around 10 minutes for you guys to, try this aspect. Let me just finish a little bit of the handle. So I'm going to do now, I'm going to hide this plane. So I'm going to create first a plane that traverses there. And then I'm going to do another plane over here and another plane there. So I'm going to create 3 more planes. So the way to do that is I'll go here to sketch, sketch, and then again, top plane. And I'm going to first create a center line that goes like this. Then another center line that goes all the way like that. And I think that should be fine because then I exit, and then what I can do is go here to features, reference geometry, plane, click on that point and click on the line, and now I have a plane that chops that in there. And then I can go here to reference geometry, plane, click on the point, click on the line, and I have a plane that goes right there. And then go to reference geometry, plane, point. There we go. So I have another plane that is right there. I'm gonna hide them while I'm not using them. There we go. So now, first I'm gonna do a sketch on plane 6. So the sketch I'm gonna do on plane 6 is as follows. A little rectangle that goes from this point over to, oh, from this line all the way to this point. I'm gonna make that coincident. And then I'll make it slightly taller because this is where the handle is starting. So maybe I'll make that 0.6. Let's see. Yeah, I think that should work. And then I'll still, or maybe 0.65. And then I'll still make a couple of fillets. And they are still at 0.2 diameter. Very good. And I'll save and I'll say exit. Okay, now I'm gonna do the exact same thing over there. So now I'll hide this plane. I'm gonna do a sketch. It's gonna ask me to select a plane. I'll do it in plane 7, which is right over here. So I'll make a rectangle that goes like that. So I'll click on this line, control that point, and I'll make that coincident. And then as for the height, I'll also still do 0.65. And then I'll still fillet all of those points. Say okay. And I'll exit the sketch. And then lastly, one more on plane 8. Very good. Maybe the handle, we might need to increase a little bit the size, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go here. And I'm gonna choose this line, control that point, and make it coincident. And maybe this, we might make it 0.9. One, there we go. And I'll start making all of those bad boys. I think 0.9 was fine. There we go. I'll edit these ones for a second. 0.75. And the same thing, this one in the front. 0.75. Very good. And now we're almost done. We're just building the wireframe, right? With which I just need to create a sketch that has these lines in there. So again, on our, what is it, the top plane? Very good. Sketch. I just want to convert entities, so I'm gonna convert all of those. I'll leave it like that. Exit. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing again on the other side. So top plane. I'm gonna convert entities just like this. I'll click escape. And now, moment of truth. I go over to features, loft, and I click here. Oh, not there. I click on this face, then this in there. I'm gonna move this little green point there. There we go. Again, green point, I'm gonna move it there. And then I'm gonna click over here. And then for guiding curves, I'm gonna go over to sketch 20 and sketch 21. And it's creating a nice little, so you see how it's funny, right? Like the shape that it's taking as it's going on the top, it's like a weird, it's like, it's not really what we want to do. So the way to fix this, it's actually very easy. And I'll show you right now what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go here to where it says sketch, and I will do actually a 3D sketch in here. What is a 3D sketch? In essence, it just allows me to sketch freely on the canvas. And one way of doing that is if I go here to a straight line, I can do a straight line that goes all the way like that. And then I'm gonna do a semicircle. Actually, I think there's a better way to do it than a 3D sketch. I'm just gonna delete this. I think I'm just gonna do a, let's see, we have a plane that splits all of this in half. Or maybe I'm gonna create one more plane. There we go. I'm gonna use that one instead. Very good. I'm gonna do sketch, plane 9. And now, yes, I'll do a line that goes all the way like this. Control to that point. Let's pierce it. Very good. And then I'll make another center line that goes from here to there. Let's pierce it. Then another center line that goes from here to here. Pierce it. Very good. And maybe since we're here, I think that should be fine. So I'm gonna first create a straight line that goes from here all the way to there. And then I'm gonna make the little spline that goes all the way like that. Yeah, that seems. Oh, that should be coming back in just a second. Let me share my screen. We go back here. There we go. That's me for touching. So maybe I'm gonna do it like that. And I'm gonna create yet another spline that goes from here to here. One thing I can do is I can click on this point, control this line, and I can pierce it. Here we also just brings it over. Then I can move this little point like this, and I can say control these two. Oh, it is control that. I can make them tangent. There we go. So I think that looks decent in there. Okay. I'm gonna exit. And now I want this to be replicated on the bottom. So one way to do that is to go here to sketch, then click on plane 9 again. And now what I can do is I can convert entities. So I can click on these 3. There we go. I can also convert entities, the middle line over here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make everything be construction lines. There we go. And now, yes, I can go to mirror, and I wanna mirror these 3 across that. So now I have, and now these ones, I will make them solid lines. So the reason is just I want every guiding line to be in a different sketch. Now I can exit the sketch. Now, theoretically, this might look a little bit better. So we go back here to features, loft, and I click on that face, and then, let me just bring this little, there we go. And now click on this face in there, this over there, and then for guiding curves, I want to select all of these sketches. So now if you were to look it like that, you see that it doesn't look as terrible. We might need to constrain it still on other directions, but see, yeah, that seems fine. I want to save. So it could be a little bit better, but you know, it's like at least a prototype of those courses, a new type of handle. I can just hide all of this stuff. And there you got it. Like at least the handle looks recognizable, we can say. Now yes, I'll start walking around and helping you guys.